Hello and welcome to Nat's Knackers Yard. I'll be Nat and this is my Knackers Yard, still with nothing knackered in it, which is a nice place to be. By a little way of intro, I'll go into the Bobber again in a bit more detail in a second. That's my day bike, I suppose, my diversion. The SV650 in the middle is a new addition with a really interesting storyline, and the previous owner, i.e. the person that did the original Frankensteining of this bike, Crash Test Katie, not Crash Test Kate as I said before, has been in contact, and she has commented on the last video, which is great. I love having some provenance over a bike. She's really interested to see what happens with it. I'm really interested to play with it, and it's what I do this for. So if you're interested in doing something similar, or you are doing something similar, or you just want to come along for the ride, then please like, subscribe, share, and you can join me on the journey. I thoroughly enjoy doing this. It's really cathartic, it makes you feel better. It's nice to have some product every so often. Join me in the frustrations along the way. I do swear a bit, but not at people. My golden rule is I swear at inanimate objects or myself. But yeah, it's good fun. Please like, share, subscribe, and I hope you get half as much enjoyment out of watching this as I do in making them. Happy Friday everyone. Bit of a setup video for the weekend, I suppose. What am I going to try and do? Well, first things first, the Bobber. I've sorted out that tape, and I've also decided that I really don't like exhaust wrap. Yeah, so it went off grey, then it went white really quickly. It's supposed to be black. So what I've gone for is what is theoretically a metallic black exhaust paint. Actually, it's a lot more silvery, glittery type thing. So what? I think that looks so much better than the wrap does. What I've also done is, just freshly arrived today, some proper manifold clamps rather than the Jubilee clips that are on there before. So that is now pretty much rock solid, held on by the suspenders. What I've also done is given it a bit of a wash, sorted out the front headlight, because I'd used the power from the parking light. So I've unplugged it, but I've now just done that properly, attached it to the fan. Did it playing around with the exhaust, has got rid of a few of the slightly bodged repairs that I've done before. It sounds amazing, looks amazing with the paintwork, and a crucial update is that I have decided that I am going to sell it. So that's going to go on the market this weekend. It's going to be heartbreaking, I know. It's a fabulous bike that looks amazing, but I need the space, I really do. Other little bits of updates are moving away from my pride and joy on the SV. 2 new tyres, so on brand new rubber. It had a puncture in the back one, front one had bald spots, so whipped those off. Found a new local garage actually, also does MOTs, so that's going to save me some hassle later on. So that's all good. Going through all sorts of thought processes as to what to do with the seat. I have found how it could be clipped further forward that looks so much better. I don't have any way of securing it on the other side yet, so I need to do some thinking on that. But actually, I think that looks pretty sweet. Yeah, carrying on from the noisy pedestrians. Yeah, it's getting there. So I don't think I'm going to mess around with the construct of the seat too much. I'm really struggling to even picture how the exhaust is going to, how the number plate's going to fit. That is just not clever or legal, even with a shorter number plate. That's going to get it too close to the wheel, so I think I'm going to have to go for the Bobber-esque side plate. But yeah, job for the weekend I think is to carb clean, because it runs fine. It's fucking noisy because of the exhaust it's got, so I need to look at other exhausts. But it's been sat stationary, not doing a great deal for such a long time, that is going to need a carb clean just as a de facto. I have undone. Actually has a lid, has a hinged fuel tank, which obviously I'm going to take off anyway. So I'm not going to dig into that yet because that's this weekend's fun and games. My other investment was a couple of axle stands because I got fed up with it being tilted over, and I don't want to go full bore with the paddock stands yet because otherwise I'll have nothing for Santa to bring me. So I've got to drop some hints. Other things I've picked up, the speedo on it is knackered. I might show it if I can remember where I've put it, but the cables have come out the back and I can't get into it. It's a sealed unit, so I've ordered a fairly bog standard one. Looking at the headlight, which I do like, but looking at the struts, I don't know how you can make it. They're not stylistically bent, they're just bent. Not quite sure what's happened there. Doesn't look like it's had a hit. Don't know what the hell's happened with them, but I do have my standard round headlight that I bought for this Senki but didn't like the look of it on, so I might swap and just chuck that on, rather than go through all of the arse ache of rubbing this down, getting it all nice and clear, etc. I might just chuck the new one on. Anything else? Brakes were fine. The back one does seize. I could have renovated them whilst the wheels were getting done. I didn't want to because frankly prior to the axle stands I had it slung from the ceiling, balanced on a jack at the back. The last thing I wanted to do was to push it around too much. Cool. Got the mudguard off because I'm playing with paint on it at the moment, just doing some experimenting that isn't going great. In fact, I'll take you to that. Okay, and the mudguard, that's been a little bit of a sort of an ongoing evening project throughout the week. I'm going for a similar effect as I've done on the Bobber, on the EN450 Bobber, or the Banksy Bobber. I didn't want to use the same paint, I wanted to go a different colour, so I went for a red this time. Having looked on other people doing something similar, I tried a slightly different approach on this one. So it's the standard primer, satin black base, the spangly silver dabbed over the top. I went for a layer of clear over the top of the silver to try and thinking it would flatten it out slightly, so I don't get quite so much relief to sand down later, and then went for the this place candy red over the top. Now the issue that it's got is that the candy red has reacted with the lacquer that's gone underneath it, and I've ended up with looks like snakeskin, which I kind of like, but it's not what I'm looking for. It's a really interesting, like, cracking. It's hard, it's not peeling up or anything. Yeah, so, oh well, this is the point of experimenting, you see what happens. So what, I'm just going to have to sand it down and go for it again. Not too much for drama, and frankly this is the reason why I tend to do any paint experimentation on mudguards rather than on tanks, because they're a damn sight easier to rub down and start again, because fundamentally they're only plastic. Cool, so what am I going to do this weekend? I might do something with this during the evenings, or we might just leave it as an evening project. I'm certainly not going to burn daylight hours on it. Tomorrow's big quest is to have a go at those carbs and see if I can sort them out. It should be an interesting one, more probably for me than you, because it's a V-twin and I've not played with a V-twin before, so it is new ground for me. So let's see how many mistakes I make along the way. I will apologise in advance for swearing. Cool, thanks very much. I will catch you all later. Please like, subscribe, pass around, share, and I hope you're enjoying the ride of the next one.